Welcome back, friends. In parts one and two, we unpacked what trauma really is, how it shows up in the lives of our students, and how it impacts brain development and learning. We also reflected on the reality that many students are carrying invisible backpacks and they're filled with hard experiences. And we talked about how those experiences affect how they show up in our classrooms. Now we're going to shift our focus from understanding trauma to how can we take action and step in. And so today we're going to answer the question that is likely on your heart. What can I do to help? What can I do to help?
And that's the right question to ask. Um, I think many students consider their teachers as their support network. I know probably everyone listening here, you have a heart for students. You want to help, but you're probably thinking, yeah, okay, I get that. Yes, students do come in with several different things. This is heavy, this is hard, but what can I actually do? And how can I actually make a difference? And the good news is that you're already doing it. And the reason why is that because your presence is actually powerful. The fact that students are expressing that their educators are support, your presence is actually making a difference. So, as educators, you all are in the front line. You're the ones that are seeing students on a daily basis, and you're the ones who are building trust with your students. Um, and so, let's walk through ways that you can support. Um, One way is to notice and respond to behavioral changes, right? If we talked about earlier how you notice certain behaviors or you notice a shift in behavior, that is important to do because that allows you then to even just approach a student and ask, hey, I noticed that they are changes in your emotion and your behavior, how you're showing up. The other is building trust through connection. Like I said, your presence already, you show up every day, already that is building trust with students. And oftentimes you're probably the first person that they would talk to if they're having a difficult time. And also knowing the role that you have um, is important because as Joy mentioned before, um, we're not expecting you to be therapists. Actually, you all may, as educators, may have more of an impact than a therapist may have because of just your presence and you being a caring person in their life, a caring adult in their life.
I want to recognize that all of us as educators, you're probably doing a lot of these things. So you're noticing and responding to behavior changes. You tend to be curious about what's happening with the student instead of being critical. You're building trust through connections. That may be your warm welcomes that you do in the morning, your daily check ins tools that you're using through Frenzy. And then also, we cannot emphasize enough. Please be informed on your resources that you have for your school because you might be the first line of defense, but you are not, again, I'm repeating that, not the last line of defense. So when you think about the tools in your toolbox, one of them is in your Frenzy Foundations portal. So you can pull this up if you're not utilizing the daily check in. This is a very proactive, positive tier one support that you can provide in your classroom to check in with students so that you can be curious instead of critical, so that you can observe and notice changes. And so, this tool, you can download it as desktoppers. You can create posters as you walk into your classroom. You can create bookmarks. We had one second grade teacher, she would say the word marshmallow. All the students would come into a circle and they would walk through this daily check in process with the teacher modeling emotion recognition because these gentle check ins are helping students develop emotional literacy. And we know that when students are able to name and identify and express what they're feeling, they are able to better manage those emotions. And when they don't have the words and they don't have the awareness in the first place, we can't expect them to respond instead of react. So, again, this is a foundational emotional competency skill. And when we think about supporting school students in school who have experienced trauma, this is going to help those students in particular, as well as tier one support for all students. The second tool that you will find again in your Frenzy Foundations portal, we call it our weather, our problem scale. This is again addressing that foundational skill of self awareness. And it's helping students recognize where they're at today. So they may be at uh, a hurricane, and you can have check ins throughout the course of the day to help them identify how they can move closer to a sunny sky. And so they may not go from hurricane to sunshine, but you can help them create a vocabulary and an awareness that the way they are at this moment does not necessarily have to define where they are an hour later or 2 days later. So, again, this is an emotional competency skill that's really a life skill that will benefit students in the short term and the long term around this idea of trauma and how we navigate trauma and stress.
Yeah, so this is heavy work. We recognize it, but it matters, right? So every student is carrying something. They're bringing something out of class into the classroom, right? And educators are uniquely positioned. So you often, like we talked about, you are the people that are seen as their caring adult. So which is why we found that this is an important topic. So you feel equipped. And hopefully this just affirms what you're already doing. You show up, you care, you see your students, and that alone is incredibly impactful to your students. So hopefully these tools encourage you and just show that you're already doing um, what the research is actually saying.
So, Marcel and I want to encourage you as we sign off. Keep going. You're doing good work. Your students feel it, even when they don't say it. I see stories that tell over and over how students recognize as they grow older, myself being one of them, how deeply impacted they were by their teachers. So you matter, you are making a difference. If you want additional support, if you want additional resources, please contact us. We have a school care team here to coach you, to come alongside you, to help you open up the resource portal and make sure you have tools at your fingertip. You can reach us at by email at support@frenzy.co. Marcel and I thank you for your time today, and we are here cheering you on. Thank you. Thank you.